So can you tell me the code? I'll just type it one by one.
Ma'am, can I start?
Yeah,
Like, uh,
yeah,
just
alternately.
whatever
You can
I
start.
get, whatever my idea is, like that way I'm telling it. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So
Go ahead.
I guess it starts with define.
What's the first sentence? Check that first.
Okay. Take an empty list to store a student marks a global variable. So that was yesterday's. Wait a sec, ma'am.
Like we have done the remote one, no? Temperature, sorry, volume, the channel, like the account balance. We have taken some global variables previously. And we need to take a global list, but it should be empty.
Define marks.
Sorry.
Define. Hello. Hello.
Hello, ma'am. I think
Yeah, see that. Ma'am, define marks list, open bracket, close
Will
bracket.
I say like this? No.
No,
See
ma'am,
again,
ma'am,
DEF.
huh, we need to be one global marks list. We need to create, no, ma'am.
yes, it's not a function, no? Is it a
Yeah,
function I want or I want a variable?
variables.
Just like your remote program, we said volume is equal to some 20
Don't do.
and
Yes,
channel is
yes,
100. We
ma'am.
did this. These were
Yes,
not
ma'am.
functions, no?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
Then we
Values.
wrote functions, increase volume like that.
That's what I'm saying. First, we need to initialize the marks. Then only we need to
Yeah,
go to the
functions.
the functions.
Yeah, so how should I declare the variable to store marks? You tell me, I'll type the code.
You define as a std or something of the student name,
Yeah,
something
just tell me. Student
marks
is
equal
equal
to
to,
is equal to in in tuple empty list. Empty list can be stored, man. How it can be
yeah,
stored? Like a
how,
open and close brackets. It will be.
that's it. That's it.
Mhm.
It's a list, no? We have created a list object.
Yeah,
This is an empty list object,
yeah.
no data. If you see the, you try to check the length of this marks, student marks, you'll see zero. Means it's already created, but there is no data inside that.
Yeah,
You'll get it zero. Proof of it.
zero.
It's existing control. Right?
Yeah,
First task is done. This
done.
is the job number one.
Yeah,
Now the second.
student marks should be a variable argument.
What should we write?
Define def
Yes, I need to say define a function. Def keyword.
def
What is the purpose of this function?
sum of sum of
No, take the subject's marks.
take the subject of marks.
So can I say add
Add,
subject marks?
add subject marks.
The name of the function is add the subject marks.
Yeah.
Any argument required or nothing?
No, ma'am. Take this marks as a variable argument. We need to give the like N or XY or something. We need to give, no, ma'am.
Only one?
No, ma'am. We
No,
need to give
not
the
one.
marks means
Star. Star
Yes, star. Let us say
marks.
this.
star marks.
What should I do with the star marks?
Print marks. And again,
No. Whatever you enter,
mm,
we have to save it in the global list.
yeah.
We have to just update this entered marks. These are nothing but marks. If you try to print, you'll be able to print each data, each subject, or in the marks list. You try to do that, you'll get the subjects one by one, right?
Okay.
You're able to get the subjects. But do I want to print it or you want to save it inside? This is the original list.
It means we need to take the global subject marks, standard marks, student marks. Sorry.
Okay.
Global
Global student
student
marks.
marks.
And here what should we do?
Student marks.
I'm opening the marks one by one out of this tuple. So where should I copy it right now? One by one, it's trying to store in this variable. For each marks found in this particular marks list,
Marks list.
what should I do with that each subject marks? Where should I save it?
Print.
I have to.
Global list.
So what is the global list here?
Student marks.
Student marks.
How to add these marks into this one? How to add a data into the list?
Data means the marks is equal to student marks.
We have function dot add. No, add
Append.
append. Yeah.
Because we are retrieving one by one marks out of this for loop. So we are running this for loop on this tuple.
Yeah.
Tuple can have any number of marks you can pass, 6 or 12 or 3 semesters, whatever you passed. Right? So it is trying to take each subject marks one after the other. And what should I do with this subject marks? I should add it into what?
Into the global list.
Is it the global list?
Student marks.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Append. Yes, ma'am.
What should I append?
All the marks.
On the marks.
This one.
Yeah.
Each marks. So
Each
from this tuple, one by one, it will be saved here. Immediately you will append into the marks list. Again, it will go to the second subject's marks, save it here, and this one will again add it into the list here. So by this, complete marks are saved. I can just put a message here, marks update. Just a message, confirmation message. So when you run this function, if I write only these two things in a program, and if I try to run this program, I've just defined, I have to run the function. No?
Add some marks.
I'm just adding some 6 subjects.
Yeah.
Just first semester, let us think that first semester marks. Am I getting that confirmation? Did it get, did this happen?
No.
Was it executed?
No, ma'am.
When I call this function, what was output on the screen?
Marks updated.
So that means when will I get this message on the screen?
When they're added.
Yeah, when they are added. Even if you want to confirm, if you want to see, before adding, try to print the global list directly. Okay? Before add. After adding also, you can confirm once again by checking the marks again.
Student marks.
Is it correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Initially it was empty. The same list is now added up with
New one.
the added marks. Fine.
Yeah.
So that means first code is correct right now. This one is still here, it is done. This is a code for the second statement. Now you tell me these two. Now I will not say anything. You have to tell, you have to execute.
Can you show me the code name, ma'am?
Same code. This is the
Code
same
code.
code we have to tell. It's the same code. Okay, you can tell here and write the code here directly.
Ma'am, does it start with another code for the third one?
Yeah.
We need the
Third.
total, right?
We need to
So,
do the totaling. Find the
so
sum of these marks.
define sum bracket open
Okay.
star
Okay, just put it as like find
find
total.
total star
This should do the total of what exactly?
of the marks in the
Marks,
list.
ma'am. Marks in the list.
Okay. So where is the marks list? Should I
That
pass
is,
it to again or it's already there in the global space?
it's already there in the global
In the
space. So will be student underscore marks
Should I
because
again
it's
mention here? Should I again pass it to this function as an argument or it can access this directly? Can this function access the student list or not?
yes, ma'am.
So do I need to again pass it this marks? Should I pass any information to it or it can already access this information?
It's global. Acha, global data automatically updates for every function, isn't
Yes,
it? Like
it is there. It's there here. If you
will be
run this
available.
function, yes, this function will only add up marks into this.
Yeah.
This function will only take this marks and find the total.
Yeah.
And let me take the global total also. Total also as a global total, right? So I'm taking global variable and a global total to store the total of all the subjects. Okay. Now what should we do with this? I took a total also, which is a global total, marks also, which is a global marks. So the job of this function is only updating marks here, whatever you pass. What is the job of this function? What is the purpose of this function?
To give the sum of
Some of
all the
our marks.
marks.
Yeah, so we have to find the sum of what exactly? The
Student
numbers?
marks.
Student marks.
Yes. So how to find the sum of a list? Now let us just say practically, if you have a small list with you, how to find the total of it?
If we have, we can do d of 0 with indices.
Indices, we can add. No?
Okay, just think we have some functions predefined.
Maximum, minimum. Yes.
We had some functions.
We had also some function, some of
Yes.
the
Some.
So I
simple.
don't have to really struggle to get the sum no, of a
Oh,
list
yes.
Yeah.
element. So this function will do this job for you. So what is it going to do?
Some of student marks.
Okay. And one more thing, does it return any value? Let us see. Does this function return a value of it? Is it returning an answer?
Yeah.
Sum of the marks?
Yes, ma'am.
So I wanted to find which sum of what?
Student marks.
Student marks.
Sum of student marks. And what should we do with these students' marks? The sum, it's returning an answer, no? Where should I save this answer?
It's equal to total, no, ma'am. It must be.
Okay. But if I just write like this, it will become a local variable, new
Yeah.
local variable. Before doing this, what should we always write?
Global total.
Yes. But we want
Global
to use
total.
only the global total, not a new total. So by this function, total is updated.
Yeah.
So I'll just put a message as
Total
total
marks.
is calculated. Now what is the next function?
At the bottom, print total marks.
Yeah. So define another function to display the total of all the subjects and or print the total. So now we have to just display the total. Define
Display
display total.
total.
So print any message you like. Total of totals or something. And if you want to write any functions, you can write. Now it's up to you. You want to write some other functions to display marks.
Display the
So just you can say
student
for
marks.
each subject marks in
Student marks. Student marks. Mm.
and end it with
Yeah.
okay, correct?
Yes.
Now you can run these functions one after the other. So what is the first function we should do? If I delete everything now, this is step by step. So what should a student do first?
Create a global
It's already
files.
there.
Okay.
It's already there. Whenever somebody wants to add their marks, then only they can find the subject's total. Then only they can display either marks or display total. So we can't call these functions first. If we call these functions, am I going to see any output on the screen?
The marks. Display total.
If I do this calls, will I see any output on the screen?
No.
Or it will show 0?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is not showing the marks at all. Because display marks, there is no marks in the list. So it will not run. The loop will not run on.
Yeah.
And there won't be anything printed on the screen. If you want to just say a message here for confirmation, then we'll get this message, but no marks on the screen. Correct?
Yeah.
So before doing this jobs, what should we do?
Or else we can give the input for the marks.
Yes, first call the add marks function. I have to first add the marks, whatever marks you like.
Yeah.
I'm just adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 subjects marks. If you want, you can add more subjects marks. And after that, if I'm running this function, what will be the output on the screen?
I think the first will be the marks and the total of them. Means 21 will be the total. So,
Did we do the calculation? Did we find the total? Did we do the totaling here, or are we just adding the marks?
we are adding the marks.
Only we added the marks. We didn't find the total yet. We didn't tell the system to find the total.
Yeah.
And we are just trying to see the marks and see the total.
Total.
So while adding the marks, we'll get this message on the screen.
Yeah.
Marks updated in the student's marks.
Yeah.
When you display marks, you'll see the marks again on the screen.
Yeah.
But when you try to display total, you'll get 0 on the screen.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Let us see this. First we added, then we tried to display marks. We got the marks. Then we displayed the total. Total is shown as 0.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how do we get the total on the screen?
Total.
Total, how many functions are there here? How many functions are written here?
3.
Total, how many functions we wrote here?
4.
4 functions. Each is for one operation. This is for adding marks. This is for calculating the total.
Yeah.
This is for displaying the
Displaying the
total.
total.
This is for displaying. So we have
Displaying
only
marks.
done which one? Adding the marks. Did we
Adding the
find the
marks.
total?
Finding the total,
Did we do that?
we did not done. It
Yeah.
needs to,
So we have to call it. If it has to
yeah,
execute, we have to call it.
need to call it.
After finding the total only, if you see the marks and
Yes.
the total, you'll see both of them.
uh,
Right?
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Any confusion?
No, ma'am. Clear.
This is about the functions actually. Any question they give, we have to solve it on the basis of this functions only actually. Any question. Because we don't start writing the coding like this. We don't say that, okay, marks list is this one. We don't write the code here itself. Please enter the marks. We don't write the code like that. Because
Okay.
if I write the code like this, what happens? Whenever you have to enter the marks, we have to run this file. As it is, the program will run always.
Yeah.
We can't do operations here, different operations. Whatever you wrote in the file, as it is, it will run. But here, I wrote so many functions in the file. If you want, you can accept once again. If you want to add the marks again, you can do that. If by mistake you entered the wrong data, or you wanted to enter the 6 or some more subjects marks. So now you are trying to run that, rerun the same function again. So with that, what happens? So with this, what happens right now? Now whatever you entered, it's erased. Now new data is added on the list. So now the same program, we are able to rerun it with the new values. Right? If I don't write functions, we don't have a choice. Whatever we wrote in the file, as it is, they get executed. But here we have a choice. Now we
Madam,
can, yeah,
you put the 2 marks, then it takes only the bottom one. Means the top one
yes,
will be.
bottom one. Okay, sorry.
Means,
Already,
means why it was why it did not take the both of them. Means it take only the bottom one.
no, it will not take just the bottom one. Fine. Once we say here, we executed this one. Let us
Yeah.
say just once here. I'm writing only 2 times or 3 times 1. So what will be the total by that time? And again I'll add. Okay. So total output should be total how much right now?
3.
6. Why 6? Because what is the function you're calling for adding marks? This function.
Yeah.
So whatever I pass, it is saved in which variable?
Student marks.
Global variable. So
Yeah.
whenever you're just trying to add the marks, it is adding to the same existing list. It's not that you're deleting the previous list data, no? Already we have added these subjects marks. Now I'm trying to add something else again. So already these are added in the same list. After that, again you're adding 3 more data. So totally 6 data are added. So whenever you want to add something on this, we have to call this function. You're getting this? See, when you call this function, forget about this. Whenever you call this function, what will happen internally? What is this function doing for you?
It was adding the marks
Whatever,
to the sub list. Student marks.
appending, no? Appending,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that means now list will have how many elements in that?
3.
If you say, check the length of this particular student list, you'll see it as 3.
Student marks.
We'll get it as 3 right now, as of now.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Now, I just want to say, again, I'm calling. Forget about the previous one now.
Yeah.
Again, I'm calling by adding some more data.
Yeah.
Now, whenever I'm calling this function, what is happening? All the marks, whatever we are adding, it's getting appended to the same student marks. So already student marks has how many data internally?
The 3.
Till now 3 were added already.
Yes.
Now we are adding 3 more. So those 3 are still there, plus 3 more are getting added.
Yeah.
So totally how many are available right now? See the student marks length. What would be the length of it? So you added the marks once and again you added the marks again. So by that time, how many elements were added? Totally 6 elements. Because the
Nine.
code is what here? What did we write? Whatever you pass, it is just appended. Appended means what? Adding at
Adding.
the end of the list. So
Yes.
whatever is there, it will not delete it. Right?
Yeah.
Any confusion?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Now I'll go into another concepts. Actually, there are a lot of things. Like on Monday, I'll be giving you the predefined functions. So today I'll start with the one more new topic because the other predefined functions I'll teach you on Monday and I'll give you the 5 so that you can go through on your own and study that actually. So today I'll just start with functions is clear, no confusion for you, global and all, global
No,
variables
ma'am.
also.
It's clear, ma'am.
Right? Yeah. I will just ask you one more time this global variable concept. You just let me know you're clear on it. Now I'm taking a list here in the global section, which is empty. And I'm defining a function to add data to this. And I'm just saying, okay, update the list. Let us say, update the list. And I'm just giving another list here. So is this both list same or two different lists? This one and this one, are they same or two different lists?
Both are same, ma'am.
Are they? Think again.
Means
It will
it will
accept the
update
global
number.
list.
Which one? The first one and the second one both are same.
Yes, ma'am. Since it's global value.
That is
Global.
global. What
No,
about the
we
second?
didn't give global listing.
Okay. Yesterday we discussed, no? If I write a variable here, it belongs to which section?
Global.
And if I write a variable here, it belongs to which section?
Local.
And if
Local.
I define a function with here one variable,
Local again.
again local. No, this is also
Yes.
local. Whether you declare a variable inside the round brackets or inside the block of the function,
Okay.
both are local. So now, are these two talking about the same variable? Or this is a global and this is a local.
Different global and local. No.
Yes. Let me give this as a list as D. So now how many list variables are there? D. Now, both are variables only. Is it about list object or we are not concerned? It can be talking about anything. We are not concerned about that. So D is one global variable. D is another local variable. So global variable is pointing to which object? A list object, empty list object, right? Now in this, I will just try to say something like this. Now this is a global list, which is having a global variable D. Now in the local, do we have any values as of now? In the global list, do we have any value?
No, ma'am. Empty. No, we have 10, 20, 30.
Local one.
Oh, no, 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 ma'am.
Local one does not have anything.
No.
So inside the function, if I try to print like this, is it talking about this one or is it talking about the local one?
Local, ma'am.
Yes, it's also representing the local data. So local data will be, local list will be printed. Okay. Now, if I say D is equal to, okay, D dot append of something. Okay. So now this is appending to which list? Is it appending to the global list or the local list?
Local list, ma'am.
So after append, you can check it now. Now I come outside and try to print a D value. Which D it is talking about?
You have
Outside the function.
come out. So global.
It's talking about, so it will print which value?
10, 20, 30.
So let us just check that first. As of now, it's global only. Now I'm calling the function update
List.
list by passing. I'm just trying to pass a list as D. Which list I'm passing to it right now?
Global list.
I'm passing the same list, no?
Yeah.
Now this D is also pointing to which list now? There is a global D. Global D is pointing to this list. There is only one object here, 10, 20, 30. So this D holds the address of this global list. Now I printed it, I saw 10, 20, 30. Now again I'm calling this function by passing which reference, which variable to it? The global reference. Global is holding the address of which list? This is local or global?
That is local list, ma'am.
Why is it local list? Wherever I write here D outside the function,
Mhm.
for whatever purpose it may be, is it local or is it global?
Global.
I may just print it, or I may just do the updation, or I may just do append some data. Whatever you do, is it global or is it local? Same thing. If I say update list, and I also mention here D, which list I'm talking about here?
Global, ma'am.
Yes, all these are talking about global only. Just to confirm, again I'll show you this till here first. Then we'll do the updation. What will be the output on the screen if I execute now?
D equal to 10, 20, 30, 40 also. It will be added. 40 also it will be added.
Yes, same global, no?
Yeah.
Now what I want to do is I want to call which function?
Update list.
Update,
Update list.
update list. And what am I passing to this?
D.
Which date is talking about?
Global list.
Yes, that means I pass the reference of this list only, same list, I gave it to it. So now, when I passed it, this is same thing it is pointing to. This D is also pointing to which list now? I'll just show you a small, simpler concept. If I say something like this, and if I have something like this, okay, variables can be anything here. I'll just take, otherwise take a second different variable. Now, if I call the function sum and I pass x and y, what did I pass to A and B? I'm calling the function and passing two references to it, x and y. They are referring to which object? 5 and 6, right? So, to the function, now when I pass these two values to the function, I'm passing whose addresses now? I'm calling this function and I'm giving some information to it. Which information? Addresses. Addresses of which object?
5
These
and
two
6.
objects. Yes, I sent it to this. So here already it is saving two variables of its own, local type. So it is storing whose address right now? Address of which object?
Yes.
Right?
The value of int. Yeah.
Address of 6. Because these are holding addresses of what? These are holding the address of 6 only, no?
Yeah.
So when I'm calling the function, what did I supply to it? I supply to it address of 5 and address of 6. So what did that function save that addresses in? Those addresses were saved in which variable? A and B. A and B are two more references, but they are global references or local references?
Local
A
one.
and B are variables. So they are local, but they are
Local.
pointing to which information? They are pointing to which object?
They're pointing to
5 and 6.
5 and 6.
Yes. So there is only 1, 5, and 6. Objects are always in some area. Now, X and Y points to which information? To the same information A and B also pointing to. As of now, both are referencing to the same information. So, I'm trying to print it and come back here. That means both are referencing to the same information here. No change here. Same concept if I say here also. Already I have a global list. I'm printing it, I'm appending it, and I'm again printing it, and I'm trying to update. Call which function? Update list. It has some reference here. I can change the reference if you want as D2. Let us say. So I'm calling this function, and which list I'm passing to it?
Global list.
There's only one list here in the globe. So
Yeah.
I'm passing the address of that list. And it is saving in which one? D2. So that means D2 is pointing to which address? Where D is pointing to. D is pointing to which location? This location. So when I'm calling the function by passing a variable to it, it is nothing but it's saving the reference here. Means whatever it is pointing, D2 also will point to the same set of information. So D and D2 are now same equal. Now when I printed D2, which information will be printed? I call the function, I pass some information to it, and it is trying to print D2. So what will be the output on the screen?
D2 also is a D only, no?
Yeah, D only. So initially D was 10, 20, 30. Then we added 40. Final value of D was 10, 20, 30, 40.
40.
I passed the same list reference to the function also. So function also is pointing to the same 10, 20, 30, 40. So when I print inside the function D2, we'll get an output of what? We'll get an output of what right now? Is it right?
Yes.
Reference is local. Variable is local, but it's pointing to common object. So whatever global variable is pointing to, this also is pointing to the same information. Right? Any confusion till here? Then I'm saying D2 dot append. So D2 dot appended with some other data. If I say 50 here, it is appended to which list?
Same. D2 list.
Is there any new D2 list?
No, ma'am. D. D
No,
is the
ma'am.
list. D and D2. Both of
This is the only list. Okay? So D and D2 are just names for our convenience. D is a name so that everybody can call this list. D2 is a name so that only this function can use the D2 word. So these are just variables to reach to that object, right? So when I said D2 dot append 50, am I doing a new list appending, or it's the same global list, the list which is here?
No, no. It's appending to the global list only.
Yes, the same list it's appending with a new value 50. So after appending, if I print D2, what should be the output on the screen? What should be the answer after appending this value to the D2?
Then don't be 40, 30, 40, 50. 50 also it needs to be added.
So this D2 was only used inside the function. We can't use D2 outside the function. We can't say print D2. Nobody can call this. This is an error, right? We know that. So we can't do this part. Let us try whether it's happening or not. Okay, it's just a comment. Right? So this statement we printed inside the function. But if I try to print D2 outside the function, it should not work. Okay, syntax error. Right? So D2 we cannot call it outside the function. It can be only used inside the function, right?
Yeah.
Now, can I print after updating the list D? Can I print the D again and see what will be the D value now?
The value will be the new list of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50.
So
Yeah.
what I wanted to explain here was whether I access through function or whether I access globally, all are talking about the same list here. Same list. Is that clear or any confusion?
Ma'am, I have doubt. Uh,
Yeah.
In function, you have given the 50 and coming out of it, you given 40. Then can you show me the output, ma'am? Means the 50, 40, 50 are in a sequence or else I got my point, ma'am.
Be what would be the order if at all we add 50 first and then later 40? It would still be 10, 20, 30, 40 or what?
No. See, which is the order? Which one you did first? See it step by step. Execution starts from where? Is it starts here or is it this is the execution? So check the execution outputs like this. What did you do the execution first?
Okay.
You
Okay.
printed it. After that, what have you done?
Depend.
Appending
Okay.
40 to this one. If I say
Yes.
50 here, let us say. So that means D was appended with which value? 50.
50.
After that, when I printed, it shows 10, 20, 30 and 50. Order of execution is important. Then you have tried to update the list. You pass the list to this function. And what is this function trying to do? Add a new value to it.
Yeah.
So now in the order, 50 was already added. Now this function is adding which value? This function is adding 42. Right?
Yeah.
So by the time we added 40, already 50 was added.
Yes.
And then when we see the list, it will show 10, 20, 30, 50, 40 now. Okay. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If I do this here, if I don't do the appending here, I update the list and then I try to append the list. Then what will be the output right now? First we printed the list. What is the list value? 10, 20, 30.
30.
Okay. Then I updated the list.
List
By updating the list,
by
what is added?
40.
40 is added to this,
Yeah.
by which we'll get an output as.
10, 20, 30, 40.
And when we print, the same thing is printed.
Yes.
And after that, what is happening?
50 is added to this.
So after that, when I printed, what is the output on the screen?
10, 20, 30, 40, 50.
So it's just the order how you wrote it, how you execute it. We have already written the code, but how we are executing that's based on that, right? Is that clear or any confusion?
No, ma'am. It's clear.
That means you just created a list in the heap area. This all objects will be in the heap only, just dump like that. So whenever you wrote something like square brackets and anywhere, you can write this statement inside a function, outside a function. Anywhere if you have created an object, that objects will be always in heap only, right? But this object is connected to which variable, that is important. This is which variable? Global variable. So there is a global area in which we have which variable? A global variable, that is D. Now initially we did D is equal to this one. So this was pointing to this newly created list object in the heap area. After that, we wrote a function, update function. What was the job of that update function? Whenever you're running that function. So what was the function we were executing? Update list. And you are passing a list to it now. Which list you pass to it? D. So the function received the address of which object? This object only. So when you said updated 40 to this, added 40 to this, so where is that 40 appended? In the same global list. Right? So when we printed the, here after adding this, if I printed the list also, what is the output on the screen? 10, 20, 30, 40. After the function execution is over, the effect is already shown in the object. Object got modified. Function has finished this task. Function has updated the list object by adding 40 to it. Now, after the function execution is over, if somebody tries to see the D value, what is the output on the screen? D is just a variable to reach out to that particular object. So when somebody says print D, what will be the output on the screen? Anybody prints D value, it prints which value now after adding 40?
10, 20, 30, 40, ma'am.
Yes. So again, if I say D dot append, somebody says like this. And again, if you say print D. So here again, we'll see.
The same with 50.
It will add
That's
50.
it. So this is about global access. So another way, if I'm just saying same program, a little different way. I'm taking the same global list and I'm trying to define a function to update list or add a data. I'm just giving a new data and I'm telling you to add into this list. So if I say whatever data you gave, if I directly add to this like this, in this manner. So what will happen with this? Is it a global list or is it a local list? It's a global variable or a local variable?
It's a local, ma'am.
Yes. So now if I print, let me see if I'm just writing like, okay, do you also here? If I say something like this. And before doing this, if I'm printing D, what is the D value? After doing this, if I print D value, what is the output of this? Now let us see the output. Just guess it once. What will be the output in the first execution?
In first execution, 10, 20, 30, ma'am.
Okay. Now, if I call the function,
Add data. Yeah. 10, 20, 30. Sorry. D will be 40, 50, 60, ma'am. It will update it now.
here, first I'm printing no, before adding.
Yeah.
So here it will print which value?
D value.
So which value of D it will print right now initially?
10, 20, 30.
After that, after
40,
adding,
50,
what is the
60.
next one?
40, 50,
Will it
60.
only 40, 50, 60 or 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60?
10, 20, 30, 40, 50, ma'am. It will be adding.
Sure,
Ma'am,
think again.
no, we are not appending, ma'am. If we append, then it will enter into the list, no, ma'am. If we did
So
not
now we'll
append,
have only
40, 50, 60, ma'am. The
40, 50,
D
60.
will be
Yes. Now I come out of it. After adding, if I say print D,
40, 50, 60.
think again, think again.
1 second. 40, 50, D.
This is only one object which is connected to a global reference. I printed the global, through global reference, I printed the object. Then I pass the same reference to this function. What has this function done? As of now, when I pass, it was pointing to the same list. That time, it's printing which value? 10, 20, 30. But later, what did we do? We declared another variable. So which variable right now? So this is a declaration of new object. So the same local variable, previously it was pointing to which list? This one.
D.
This is a local D. It was initially pointing to this list, but in the middle of the program, we have updated to which list? A
40, 50,
totally new list.
yeah.
So now the reference is lost. Now this variable, which was initially pointing to the global list, now it is pointing to which list?
40, 50, 60.
Local list. One more new list. Right? So that's the reason while printing I saw 40, 50, 60. And is it affecting this list? Is it destroyed or is still there?
No, ma'am. It will a describe, ma'am.
What is this variable?
A global value.
Yeah, is it destroyed or it's still there? Did I destroy the global variable anywhere?
No, ma'am.
We are updating only.
So, are we updating the global list here? Did we say d dot append 40, 50, 60?
No, ma'am.
So,
We created a new local list, which is
yeah,
40,
you
50.
created a new list object, and this local variable is pointing to this new list object now. Initially, when I call the function, I gave the address of which list? Global list. I sent the address of the global list. Let me take another variable address for your confusion. I sent which list to it first? The global list. Now, global list is saved in which reference? D2. So, when I printed D2 initially, what was the value it is printed? It was pointing to this list. So, same output will come on the screen. But after printing, what did you do with this D2? Is it still connected to 10, 20, 30 or it's now connected to a new list object? We said is equal to. See, if I say A is equal to 5, then again if I say A is equal to tech, what is the meaning of that? Initially A was pointing to which object?
5.
Integer 5 object. Again if I say A is equal to tech or A is equal to 6, what does it mean?
The A will be 6 now.
A
The
is
5 will be
pointing
lost.
to another new object.
Yeah.
So whenever we say equal to and assign something, a new object is created with that. So you can check that. Initially, you can check the reference of this one, A, and again you can check the reference of this one. Both will not be same. Both would have pointed to some other object, right?
Yeah.
So same concept here also. When I initially printed D, this is talking about which list? This original
10, 20,
list.
30.
So this is a global variable. And then I'm calling which function? Add data function. And what did I pass? A global reference value. Global reference is pointing to this particular data. So I gave it to which variable? D2.
D2.
So initially D2 is also pointing to which list?
D only.
This list only. D list only. And while printing also it is printing 10, 20, 30. But at the third line, what did we do? D2 is reinitialized. D2
Yes.
equality symbol we have used here. Because of that, now D2 is pointing to a totally new object.
New object.
So one more new object is created in heap. Already in the heap 10, 20, 30 list object is there. Now one more newly created object is found in the heap area. 40, 50, 60.
Yeah.
Now who is referencing to this particular new list?
D.
Only D2. Only D2 is found connected to this list. So after this, if I print D2, what is the output on the screen? What will be pointed with this? What is the output on the screen with this D2?
40, 50, 60, man.
Yes, 40, 50, 60. So that's what we said, 40, 50, 60.
Yeah.
So it lost, D2 lost connection to which list?
D.
The first global list.
First one. Yeah, it has lost the connection. But does it mean that whole object is destroyed? There is no reference to call it again?
No, ma'am. I think the address of the list will be changed. Might be
D2,
changing.
yeah. Through D2 I can't reach it. But doesn't it have any other reference to it? Do we have a global variable connected to that still? See, D2 is not pointing to that anymore. D2 is now pointing to 40, 50, 60. But which variable is still pointing to 10, 20, 30?
D.
D is still alive. No, nobody killed that D.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
D can be used throughout the program. Anywhere you can use it. Here also you can say print D. So now this D is which value now? Which value will be printed? After adding the data, the local D2 is pointing to this. But what about the global D? Is it pointing to 40, 50, 60 or still 10, 20, 30?
10, 20, 30, ma'am.
That's what we want to say. Nothing about that. So you have to understand that objects can be passed via from one location to another through reference sharing. Yes. Fine. You can understand.
Yes.
Only one point we have this one. After that, again, we have 10, 20, 30.
Similar.
Because from the beginning, we are printing the global list. We pass the global list to this particular function. Function has immediately saved in D2 and it has initially printed it as it is. After that, D2 was now pointing to another list and when it printed 40, 50, 60. Again, when we came out and printed D, D is again pointing to the same list, right? 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay. So 10, 20, 30. If unless and until I say D dot append of 40, it will not get added with a new data. Okay. Is that clear or any confusion?
No, ma'am, it's clear.
This is one concept. I'll just start with a small topic here. There's a concept called as object orientation. Now, once we understood the functions topic, now we know the data and the functions. So data and functions means whenever you declare them inside a file, whenever you declare any data, that means variable, any variable and functions, define a function directly in the file. They are called as global. Global, global variable and global function. Okay. Now we want to talk about other types of functions. Now, functions or variables can be defined or let's say declared or defined in different scopes. So the first scope is already we discussed, global scope. Second scope was the local scope. The third scope is the class scope. Fourth scope is instance scope. And these are the basic concepts found in the Python interpreter. This is the global data, the global variable are found in the global areas. So these are nothing but global variables or functions which are defined in the class, sorry, in the file. Next thing is the variables declared inside a function are called as local location. Next is the class scope. So where variables and functions are defined inside a file, inside a class. Inside some class block. So what is class? I will just show you. And the last one is the variables and the functions. Actually, we will not call them functions anymore. We'll call them as methods, which are defined inside a class, inside an instance. So this we have to learn now. So terminology, what we have to learn is new terminologies. What is class? What is an object or what is an instance? Or we also say it as object. Now already with knowledge, with or without knowledge, we are using these concepts, class and an object. Now when I said like this, and we just stored it in this one, and when we said type of D, what is the output we got on the screen when we said type of D? Was it
Integer.
showing something like this?
Oh, list, right? Okay.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Every data type in Python is a class only. So already we discussed in the beginning only this concept.
Yes.
Everything you write anything, it's like a class.
Yeah.
So type of everything you just see that anything you type, it's called as a so,
Types.
okay. So already we are learning, we have learned predefined data types, or these are called as classes only. Now classes are nothing but predefined data types, or we say, or data types. Now data types can be again of two categories: predefined or user defined. Something we can also define the data types, which are considered as classes, right? So now if I'm just writing this word, if I'm saying rectangle or square or a triangle, can I say these are all each representing some different words? Everything is talking about a different concept. All these three words, are they talking about one or different type of shapes?
Types of shapes.
So types of shapes. So I will say these are nothing but different types of classes. So different categories only are called as classes, right? So whenever you look at some information, if I say color is blue, the font faces something, Vardhana, font sizes. So what are all these information talking about? They are speaking about which information? All these informations together are talking about what exactly?
Font.
Font. So font is called as a class,
Class.
or font is called as a data type. Because whenever I talk about font, we can store four informations inside a font. So same way, we have a lot of informations which can consist of different information, like student. When I talk about a student, we can have a name, we can have a mobile number, we can have a like the class in which he's standard, in which he's studying, the section in which he's studying, the stream, what he is taking, specialization or whatever. So we can talk about a lot of information regarding one entity. So we'll say student is a class, or we say student is a data type. So what is this student made up of? Student is made up of all this group of information. So like when I said, these all informations are talking about which class? Font data type, font specifications. I'll say these are font specifications. These I will say as which specifications? Student specification. So now if I say in way, I say black color, and if I say RAM is 64 GB, then something like Windows 10. So these are like your system, operating system specifications, right? Can we say that? So this information I'll categorize which type? OS data type. So classes are nothing but your customized data types now. So whenever we want to talk about some group of information like length, breadth, area, and perimeter. So these information should belong to something or the other. I cannot just say length is 2 or length is 3, breadth is 2, and area is. So definitely if I have to write this, before this length and breadth will occur. So if I just write these, do you understand these are the dimensions of what? Do they talk about their length of rectangle or length of triangle or length of square? Does it mention anywhere saying that these are
No.
the properties of a rectangle? No. But if I declare like this, inside a class called as rectangle, and I will just write like this, so simply. So now I declare my variable inside which location? Is it inside the file? Is it inside the file I have declared these two variables, or I have declared these two variables inside the class? Now I'll just write it here. I will write one variable here. This is which kind of variable? If I write it here inside a file,
It's a global number. 1020 are global.
yes, are they
And
global?
and the bottom
If
are
I
the
define,
local variables.
yes, even if I define another function, if I say some 40, and if I say breadth is 50, now these are which kind of variables? This length and breadth.
Local variables.
Yes. So whenever you call this function, you'll get two new variables called length and breadth only inside that function. Same way, is this a class or is it a function? Did we write it as a function or did we write it as a class?
Class.
Yes. Class is nothing but already when we have seen, no? Type
Yeah.
something like if you said something, you got a class name. You
Yeah.
said it's like a class of list type. You got this message on the screen.
Yeah.
So nothing but data type. Class means some data type. So which data type is this now?
Rectangle.
Rectangle. So rectangle is one data type. It consists of how many properties?
Length and breadth.
Length and breadth. So length and breadth are not just global. They are just properties belongs to something. No, we can't say length is 5. I have to say this box length is 5 or this paper's length is 5 or this rectangle's length is 5. So now we have kept two variables. This belongs to which class? Rectangle class. So these variables are called as class variables. These variables are called as local variables.
Local variables.
And these are called as global variables. Right? So where will be they found in the software inside the Python interpreter? So in the Python, we have a global area. Inside that area, we'll have a file called as test.py. Inside that file, which variables are loaded?
Length and breadth.
Function code is loaded. Class code is loaded.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are all coding part. Now, when you call the function for execution only, this will happen in a reality. The code will only get executed when you're calling the function. Only then these are active. So whenever you call a function, these two variables will be loaded in the stack area. We have to understand that on execution of this function only, the local data gets activated. Data is loaded in which area? Stack of the function. Okay. So my two variables are found in the global area, but the other two, length 40 and this one, will be loaded in a function stack whenever it is running. After the execution is over, it will be automatically erased. Now, what is the next one? So when you run this file, when you say run this file, this is loaded, this code is loaded, this data is not yet loaded. And what is this? Again, a class code. Class is also loaded on the interpreter. So when this class is loaded, immediately class variables are loaded inside the same global area. So in global area, we are loading a lot of things. So if you observe from top to bottom, in global area, first what did we load? The global variables. So what are the global variables? Length and breadth we have loaded. The initial one, what we have loaded as 10 and something like 20. Yes. So these are loaded in the global area first. They are directly accessible with the file name also. So they belong to which file? Test.py. Other than that, what else is loaded in the global area? The class. Which class is loaded right now?
Rectangle.
And inside this, do we have any variables?
Yes. Length and breadth.
Yes. So a class rectangle is loaded in the same location, in the same global area. And inside this, what information is found? Length and breadth. So this length and breadth has its own values, 3 and 2. Right? So now totally in the global area, how many variables we can see as of now?
two of them, the global variables and as well as the class variables.
Yes. So global variables, how do we access them? How to access them? Can we directly say print length? And can we directly say print breadth like this
Yes,
from within the same file?
yes.
But from other files, what should we do?
Import.
Yes, we have to
Dot
import the test,
dot dot
and then what we have to say? Test dot
test
length
dot
or
length, test dot breadth,
test dot.
breadth.
Yes. So what about this one? In the same file, if I have to print them, in the same file, if I have to print them, we have to say the class name dot length. The class name dot, because they are associated to the class now. They are
Yeah.
not independent. They are not directly written in the file. If they are in the file, they are global. They are inside the class, they are class variables. From other files, if you want to call them from the other files, what we must do initially, at least import
Import
the
test
test.py
dot
file. And in that, again, see, when you say test importing, everything is accessible. How do we access the data inside the test file generally? Test dot
dot
something, no? Test
yeah.
dot length, something like that. So same way class is also accessible like this, and class data is accessible like this. So generally, whatever we want to access of the test file directly, global data, we used to say test.length, test.breadth. In the same way, in the same file, what did we write? See, even these are called with test dot. Even the function is called with test dot function. Even the class is called with test dot rectangle dot length. Test dot rectangle dot breadth. So this is from other files. If it's in the same file, how do we print? We just have to say rectangle's length, rectangle's breadth. But if you are calling this information from other file, we have to say test files, rectangle classes, length data. Same with from test file, the rectangle classes, which data? The breadth data. Right? Is that clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just show it once practically and then I'll continue with next Monday's class, right? So let me just write it. So I want to declare 3 types of variables today. There is one more instance, I'll show it on Monday. This is global. So I'm taking 2 global. I'm taking 2 local. So who can bring this local one? I will just print it something like side by side. And I come out of this. And again, if I say class rectangle, and again I'm saying length is
Length.
50
Yes.
and breadth is 60. Now, within the same file, if I just print length and breadth, which value will be printed now?
Global.
10 and
20.
now within the same file, when I call the function, what will be the output on the screen?
40 50.
It's 40. Within the same file, if I say print rectangle dot length, rectangle dot means it's rectangle's dimensions. It's not just dimensions, it is rectangle's dimensions. So what was the output right now?
50 60.
56.
So how many scopes we have saved the same information now? We have saved the information in same location or 3 different parts.
3 different parts.
Yeah, this is purely global. This is purely local. This is purely class. Class means we can't access these without a class. Nobody can access them other than the function itself. Anyone can access these variables with the file name, right? Now this is from the same file. If it's from some other file or on the shell, if I want to call it, if I want to call those in the shell now, I'm just restarting the shell. Now, I want to call which files data now?
Import scope.
Okay, not test, it is scope.
Import scope.
Okay, I saved it in some other location. Otherwise, let me take a new item.
Device 14.
No, we have to change a lot of things.
Import OS. I think.
Yeah, that's what import OS and all I have to type. That's the reason I'm doing one more thing here. I'm just saving the same here in the Python location.
Okay.
So scope 02. Okay. Now I'm closing this file. I'm closing this and trying to import test 02.
No, ma'am. Scope 2,
Sorry,
ma'am.
not test. Yes, sorry. Import scope 02.
02.
We got it executed as of now because whatever I wrote, it will get executed.
Yeah.
But now, if I comment these or printing state, I will just comment here and I'm just running. There are 3 data. This is one set of data. This is second set of data. This is third set of data. I'm just trying to go to the file. Again, I'm restarting it once again. Now, if I have to call this data again, how should I do that? Import scope 02. Saved it. Oh, I printed it here also. Sorry. Anyhow, no issues. Now, if I have to print it again, what should we do? Import it, but I have to print the data. Can I directly print that length?
Mm-hmm. No, ma'am.
Can I print scope 02 dot length?
Yeah.
File name dot.
File name dot breadth.
Because we are calling from outside, no?
Yeah.
Now, how do we call that local ones? Can somebody call the local ones directly, or they have to call the function for it?
Dot function. Then
Function only can show it. Nobody can directly access it, right? So can you say that class ones now
scope dot
directly can be
rectangle.
set? Yes, scope dot
Scope
scope 02
02
dot
rectangle
rectangle dot
dot
length.
length. Yes, ma'am.
Correct?
Yes.
So it's somewhat clear, but applications I'll teach on Monday. What is this concept about? So first, information categories we have learned. So in real time, how do we use it? I'll teach you. Right? So any doubts in today's session? You got a
No,
clarity about data, no? Data storage spaces and all.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay then. I'll be sending some questions. Both of you have to solve and send me before Monday only, before Monday's class.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
ma'am. I
Thank
have
you.
a
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me, Balaji.
on Monday. I will may join or not, ma'am. Please
Okay.
record the session and I will
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
any sum about them. Why
Sure,
means
sure.
on Monday? On Monday, I'm going to the office. That's why.
Okay, okay. I'll take the
Okay.
recordings too. I'll send you. Otherwise, we'll see. Anyhow, if you have doubts in the next class, we can clarify.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.